guys, today is my first Halloween tutorial for the year and I'm so excited about it because it's just a really beautiful face, but it's got like these huge scars that have been stapled. So it kind of makes it gruesome and ugly, but I still love it. And I'm starting with a clean face and just putting on a primer. I'm using the MAC Natural Radiance base because I want my makeup to stay on the entire night. And then I'm going into my first scar. I'll talk about the products first and everything will be listed in the description box, and then in the next clip you'll see how I actually do it and I'll explain it in more detail. So I start with liquid latex. The stuff is so potent and I put it onto my skin because I want the FX wax to stick and to stay the entire night, and it doesn't stay that well by itself. So I use the FX wax and I'm just molding it to my skin. So onto the second scar, I basically use a silicone-based primer because otherwise the FX wax will stick to your fingers like crazy. And I'm using the Crayolan one, as I said, and you use a wooden spatula to scrape it together. So you kind of scrape it into a ball in the center of the pot, and then you take it out and you mold it to the size that you want it to be. So you can see me doing that there. And then I used liquid latex to stick this to my face. This stuff is so potent. It makes your eyes water. It stinks. It's horrible, but it's the best for getting something to stick to your face. And then I just put the FX wax onto my face and I just mold it to my skin. And so you want it to look as flush with your skin as possible. I didn't get it completely right, but it's okay because the bruises kind of cover it up. So you want it to be flush with your skin, so you can kind of just press it down along the edges and make it as smooth as you want it to be. If you don't get it right the first time, that's perfectly fine. It's going to be nighttime usually, so no one's really going to notice, and also they're going to be looking at your scar like, holy crap, that looks amazing, so they won't be judging your work. And then I'm moving on to doing my actual makeup. So I'm going to go with something very glowy and bright and beautiful. I had the idea of doing like an Instagram baddie kind of makeup look and then just adding the scars to it. So it's like an Instagram baddie that had something go wrong and now she's got staples on her face. So I used the Bourjois 123 CC cream, and then I went in with my BBU, Bobbi Brown BBU palette, and I just used the Bisque Corrector shade. And then for concealer, I used the Clarins Instant Concealer. I don't know what shade it is, but it'll all be listed below. And then I just set everything with my Crayolan translucent powder. It is essential that you set the scars or the FX wax because otherwise it can move throughout the night and you really don't want that. So I just used a generous amount of translucent powder to set those scars. And then I go on to doing my brows. I've got a brow routine if you want to go and take a look at that. I'll list it in the description box as well, or a little eye will pop out here. And then this is something new that I've been using. This is the Essence Make Me Brow, I think. And for eyes, I'm going in with the Stila Eyes of the Window Spirit palette. Love this palette, it's all matte. And I'm using the almost like beigey shade. And I'm just going to be doing a very simple eye look. It's all matte, all kind of very, very simple. This eyeshadow look really reminds me of kind of like a Kylie Jenner look, which I'm very, very much into at the moment. And then I go in with like a really chocolatey brown shade on the outer corner. Not adding too much because I want my eyes to be pretty, but I'm going to be adding false lashes, so I don't need to add too much to the eyes because the false lashes are going to make it like over the top, which is exactly what I want. And then I'm going to add a little bit of a wing to this eye makeup look. It's very simple. It's not like over the top at all, like I said. And then I'm using my Eyelure 117 texture lashes. So obsessed with these. They are so beautiful. I use them on my brides because it just adds like something extra. And then I'm using my Inglot AMC gel liner to line my waterline and also use that for the winged liner. And then this is the MAC I don't know what the mascara is. Again, it'll be listed in the description box, so it's fine. And then I'm using all the shades that I used on my actual eyelids at the bottom of my eyes as well, so the orangey shade, and then I'm going to use the chocolatey brown shade just to add a little bit more dimension there and to make it a little bit darker and more smoky. And then just to end off this eye look, I'm going to be adding a little bit of lower lash mascara, and this is the MAC in Extreme Dimension. I think that's the right one. And for some contour, which I don't usually do, but Instagram baddie, you gotta do contouring. This is the Smashbox contour kit, and I use the contour shade on the left hand side and then the bronzer shade on the tops of, like on my cheekbones, not where I did contouring. And I actually contoured my nose. Look at that. And I really, really like this. I've been contouring my nose a lot recently and I'm into it. So that's where I'm doing a little bit of bronzer. And then for blush, I'm using the Stila Convertible Color Blush, and this is in the shade Peony, I think. But that stuff is all in the description box, as I've said before. This is one of my favorite highlighters for a very like out there highlight. It's definitely perfect for an Instagram baddie look because it literally can call every extraterrestrial, I can't say that word, extraterrestrial being from space because of the highlighter. Okay, and then for lips, I used one of my absolute favorite lip liners. This is the Essence lip liner in Satin Mauve, and I'm just having a little bit of a dance party because I love this makeup look. And on to the fun part, yay! We're gonna start with the scar. So I used a little scissors that was in my kit. This is what I used to like cut lashes or whatever. And the scissors actually don't get close to my skin because the FX wax is really thick, so I couldn't feel it at all. And then for the blood, so this is kind of going to be the light red shade, and I used a lip gloss, and this is one of the lip glosses from the Balm. Once I feel like I've put on enough of that lip gloss, I go in with my Super Color Wheel because the maroony shade that's in there is just a little bit more like blood. I just wanted the lip gloss to add like an initial kind of sticky, wet looking blood, and then to deepen the scar even more, I add black to the very center of it, and I only add it in some parts. So I add it where it's the thickest, so not too much towards the ends of the scar, but more in the center, so it looks like that's like a deep gash. And then I just add a little bit more of the lip gloss around the scar so that it's a little bit more on top of where I've cut into the FX wax. And then I move on to my cheek scar, and I basically do the exact same thing, but with this one I add a little bit more detail because it's a bigger area, so I cut a little bit thicker of a scar on the cheek and I add a little bit more detail, which I think is awesome. I love it. And I think that it's always best to use a lip gloss when you're wanting to do that kind of like bloody look, because you want it to look like liquid, you want it to look almost glossy. And I added a lot more extra stuff onto the scar, so I added a lot more blood around the actual scar. And then again, you can see me adding the black into certain areas and just kind of like messing it up a bit. I love this. It looks like I've been scratched by some animal. I'm so into it. This part is pretty simple. I'm just adding the staples to my face, and I kept them in kind of like 3 or 2, maybe some of them, like the really big ones, are 4 staples stuck together. And I think that works a little bit more because it stands out more than just using one staple at a time, and that it's so much quicker as well. And then I'm using kind of like a pinky mauvey shade and a maroon shade mixed in together, so it looks like a bruise on my skin. And then I'm just putting this all around the scarring, so around where the staples are, because you would have bruising there, because either way that's going to be traumatic for your skin. And this is the end look. I love it. I think it looks so legit. It looks realistic. I'm super into this. I went out afterwards to show people and they literally thought that I had something wrong with my face. My mom freaked out when she saw this. This is how you get a really simple stapled makeup tutorial, but you still look really pretty for Halloween. If you're into this, then leave me a comment, like this video, and subscribe if you're not. I am going to be doing another 3 makeup tutorials for October, so stick around and you can see what those are like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. And kissable, and I mean, what more do you want from your lips? I am very into this color. It is the perfect pinky brown nude-ish, not nude at all.